Okay, now let's look at page 4-3 and see if you wrote your numbers on that outline page so that we can, rather than having to look over every page, we can just use the outline for your numbers. All right? Did you do that?
We did it on 4-4.
That's fine. Okay. Somebody tell me what your plan. Why don't you guys go ahead and tell me how you prioritized? What amount of time did you assign for those sections? Go ahead.
Okay. First of all, we assign 1 minute to invite, the people, and we use the diagram on 4-5 to invite them to rank themselves and see how they're doing in each of this area. Just 1 minute. And then we have the objective. We have 2 minutes, the objective of the lesson.
Okay.
And then the family is under attack. We have 5 minutes because that is basically we're giving them information and statistics, in that. And then imparting spiritually within your home. We gave that 10 minutes.
Excuse me. Let's let them. Oh, sorry.
Okay, we gave that 10 minutes. And then C, nurturing your family. And we felt that more time needs to be given here because this is the action point. You are, helping, nurture them, how to, nurture their family. And then the leaders has a healthy family life. We gave that 10 minutes. So we have 45 minutes total.
How many are there in this one? Is it 4 or 5? 4, right? Okay. All right, so you gave an intro and objective. That
3
would be like
minutes.
3 minutes.
3 minutes.
3 minutes.
Then 5,
5 minutes for A.
10, 18,
10.
Okay. Okay, is that up to 45?
40.
Is that 20, 38, 41, 46. So you're 1 over. Okay.
Well, 1 minute on.
We'll do 17 minutes.
Okay. All right. Somebody tell me what your team came up with and how much you agree or disagree with their timing. Okay, go ahead. What did your team decide as far as your time?
You tell.
That's what we were talking about.
We made different way
Okay?
for the
Microphone right
Get
here.
your mic.
page.
Get your mic there.
We made it different way. Page 4, it takes like 3 minutes.
So your intro, if you do a,
And all other 6, each one 7 minutes.
so you did 7, 7, 7, and 7.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's gonna be 2 per page. We did pages.
I
Oh,
think,
you did pages. We need to go by objectives.
oh, 6,
If it has a two-page objective, can we call that 14?
That's correct.
Okay, so which one has a two-page?
Start with 3 and then go 14, 14, 14, 14.
14, 14, and 14, and yes, well, wait a minute. 3 of these, that's 42, so you got 14 minutes too much.
okay, each one 10, 10, and first one is 5 minutes, 45 minutes.
Okay, so you're gonna do 5, 10, 10, 10.
Thank you, right.
Okay, anybody disagree? Or what's the next team? What did you guys come up with?
Let them disagree.
Okay, for the intro objective, 3 minutes. And imparting spiritually within your home, 15. Nurturing your family, 15. How many minutes I got left? Whatever's left. No. Is it 10 minutes? Do I have 10 minutes left? That's what I had. Oh, that's 33? Oh, well, I got a lot left. Okay, all right.
But you still have 2 objectives to teach.
Oh, you know what? We counted A as the introduction.
Okay, so you
We-
count,
we
you're
thought-
not doing a separate introduction.
No,
So what you have is 3,
we thought we would,
15, 15, and
33,
12.
yes, 12. We wanted more, yeah. We figured that the family is under attack could really be, you know, I'm a preacher, but so, and the antithesis or the hook, you know,
Okay.
really,
That-
that's what I was
That
thinking.
section kind of becomes your invite.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
what I was thinking.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Okay? Last but not least.
Yeah, we looked at the whole session outline, the objective, and we kind of like categorize. There's the introduction, there's the substantive, and closing. So we spend more of our time on closing. The first that we have is intro and objective. We assign 5 minutes to that.
Is that for section A or? if
No,
you do something
the
before
intro.
A?
Introduction.
Before A.
Yeah.
Do a 5-minute intro, okay?
And the session A, we have 5 minutes. We have 5 minutes for that. And section B, we have 12 minutes for that. And section C, we have 12 minutes for that. And D, we have 10 minutes. And we have 1 minute for miscellaneous. Students wasting time or just, you know,
Just in case.
Just in
Your
case.
closure, bring it all together.
Yes.
Okay, we have some different choices here. Some of you want to spend time going over the outline before you even get into the meat of the lesson. I think you'll find that you don't want to spend that much time on the outline as you get into doing this, because you've got a lot of things in here. You spend that much time and you get down in here where it's got 3 pages of content, you go, wait a minute, I can't do this. So you might want to I think you're going to rethink that a little bit. Most of you chose to do section A with a very small amount of time, because section A is a small thing, okay? There are 10 people in here, so I'm going to borrow our electrician over here as well. Now, we're going to do a little lesson in how to do statistics.
Can I just ask a question?
Uh-huh.
Are the lessons real, this involved each, and we only have 45 minutes? 'Cause this is a.
That's a typical session.
Okay, ooh.
This is a
That
lot of
is-
information.
That's
for-
what you're going to do in 45 minutes. It is a lot. Now you understand why I said you'll never teach everything
I
in the
see
book?
yeah.
That's why I just said.
It's a lot of
it's like
information.
drinking from the fire hose.
Yes. Yep, turned on full speed.
But I could
Because
see
there's-
how the small groups could
The small
help
groups
out.
bring it together when you're finished. Absolutely. You're really beginning to understand that this isn't like anything you've ever done before. We're giving you 10 times more stuff than you will ever be able to use at one time, but it's there for your learners. They're going to read it, they're going to absorb it, and you're going to hit the key points, and you're going to make it relevant, and your small group is going to make it personal.
Okay.
Okay?
So, question.
Uh-huh.
So the reading is very important that we have our students read the attendance we're looking at yesterday. Part of it was the fact that they're going to
The reading log.
the reading log. So it's
And
that's
the reading
part
log is just the statement each student makes that says, I read it all, or I read certain percent of it.
So if a student is not reading, you can drop off, drop out.
If a student's not reading, they're just not getting the most out of the material they can. It's really, and to be perfectly honest, you can't do the take-home exam if you don't go back and read the material.
Okay.
So they are reading this before the teacher.
If at all possible, they will have read it before you're teaching it.
Okay. Yeah.
You pass your books out ahead of time. At
Yeah.
the very least, all your instructors and team leaders have read it in advance so that they know what you're going to be covering. But if your students can have it in advance, that's so much the better, so that they are aware of what's in it. And then your job is not to sit here and read it to them, but to flesh it out and make it richer. You're going to make it more important. Now, we're going to do a little thing on how to do statistics. So, we're going to turn real quickly to page 4-5, I think it is. Now, here's the thing about statistics. This book is several years old, and some of these statistics may be slightly different now. There's more women making competitive wages with men. I mean, there's all kinds of changes in statistics these days. And so it's a good idea to update your statistics, check out the Bureau of Standards that have all kinds of statistics about labor information in households and such. Check the census and see what the census reports may be. But census need to be updated, statistics do, and we have to make adaptations for other countries. It doesn't make any sense to other countries if we're talking about single mother households in the United States.
That's what he said, yeah.
Okay? So we have a little bit of issue with statistics when I take it to the Dominican Republic or the Philippines or something. So now, here's what we're going to do. There are 10 people participating in this room right now, including our guest from India, who is our resident electrician for the moment, our video guy. Here's what we're going to do. I want all of you to stand up for a moment.
I have a question. Is the divorce rate increase or decrease?
It's increasing, exactly.
Increasing.
Just to clarify, is there any website that you can go to get?
Yeah, the U.S. Census. U.S. Bureau of Census will have a lot of that kind of material. Okay?
And,
All right.
And Barna does a lot of,
Yeah, George Barna has a lot of that
has
kind of
a lot
thing, too.
church, yeah.
Okay. Now, I want 5 of you to sit down. Whoops, got too many. Okay, you're still standing. I know, you stay up.
1, 2,
Stay up.
3, 4.
But we got one over here. No. Oh, okay, you're both still up. Okay, so you're good. Now, you look around this room. You have 10 people. You have 5 people standing. That's the American divorce rate as of this printing.
Wow, 50%.
It looks different when you put it in terms of real people. When you stand them up and you look at people. Okay? Now, single-parent households account for 27% of households with children under 18. I want 2 more of you to be seated. Okay? So now, the only ones left standing are 1, 2, 3. 27% is pretty close to 30. We round off. And now look at this. 30% of households headed by with teenagers or with children under 18 are single-parent households. A visual, okay? This also relates to the statistic in number 3. There is an increase, 33%, or approximately 30, of all children are born to unmarried parents.
You know, the numbers are higher.
Out of every 10, 3 children out of every 10 are born into a household of unmarried parents. Single or living together or whatever. Okay? This is a very effective way whenever you're talking about statistics. Use the people in the room. If you have a bigger crowd, put 10 chairs in a row and have 10 people stand in front of them and have 5 sit down, because that's really clear. Rather than trying to say, I have 28, what's half of 28? I'll use 28, 14. It doesn't work as well that way. If you have 10 people and you line them up in front, have them bring their chair, and then you have 5 of them sit down, you just illustrated 50%. If you have 2 more sit down, now you're illustrating 30%. Okay? You see how you use, it gives you body smart learning, people are involved, and it's a picture smart thing that just, wow. That's what, when we talk about 50% divorce rate, we're talking about every other person in this room is sitting down.
You know what would even be interesting is to look at the divorce rate of Christians, which is...
You can do that too, yeah. Let's say Christians are not immune to any of these statistics.
No, exactly. Some of it is
Yeah,
higher.
quite the contrary. Christians are part of the
It's
same
more.
dynamic.
It is more.
Is it really more?
Yeah, the divorce rate is more.
What's really sad is the number of Christian leaders.
That's what the other thing I was going to say.
Yeah, people who are in leadership positions and how they fit in some of these statistics. Okay, you guys can sit down in your regular chairs, relax again. That was just a point that I wanted to make about how to show statistics. Okay. So section A is really short and sweet, 3 to 5 minutes. You shouldn't spend more than that. Section B, it's a one-pager. It's got a lot of stuff. Some of you said 10, 10, 12, and 15. It were section B. Oh, 5, 10, 5, 10, 5, and 3. No, that's A. B is 10, 10, 15, or 12. Yeah, so you're kind of in the ballpark. Yeah, I'm not sure. The group who chose 15, why did you decide it would take 15 to do B?
Not B, C.
B.
B.
Was that us?
The light blue color, it was the...
Was that us?
1, 2, 3. It was your group.
Me? Actually, we had put both of all of them together,
B
the
and
B and
C
C,
went
and
together.
so I was trying to figure out in my head what our, so it would be less.
Ah, okay.
Because that's the meat of the
Yeah,
message.
we just felt like both of them were the meat of the message, and we just
Okay.
assigned one number to.
All right.
'Cause now that I
But the
look at
thing
this-
with it is that C is a 2-page,
Right.
actually a
And
3-page
C.
section. It has a lot of
That's
stuff
a
in
lot.
it. Even just looking at the chart that talks about the 4 parenting approaches. I mean, there is
that's a
so
whole-
much on page 4, 7, 8, and 9 that's all objective C.
I love this topic.
It is tremendous.
Great stuff, folks. We told you this material is going to get you where you live. This is not some magical happens over there someplace thing. This is getting you right where you
Right
live.
home,
It's talking
yep.
about real practical, where the rubber meets the road Christianity. So that's why we feel like it's so important. And then last but not least, we have D, which comes at the end, and it's shorter, but it really sums everything up. So most of you thought around 10 or 12 minutes for D to bring it all together. And the majority, the highest numbers tend to be in section C. So see what I mean by it? It's very subjective. And it doesn't hurt to sit down with somebody else when you're first doing this and saying, let's talk about this section. How would you do this? And work it out together. It's new to you to try to do this. It's important to be planned this carefully, to know how much time you're going to spend on the various parts of the lesson. Okay, any questions?
Yeah, I was just going to say that what I also really love about it is that apart, from the figures, everything in here can be taught in India, Japan, South America. I mean, it fits anywhere.
Yeah, families are families no matter what part of the world you're in.
And please give us your timing, so what's your decision?
I'm pretty much with you. I might just say, let's look at the objectives on page 4-4. This is what we're going to talk about in today's lesson, and then go right into session A, spend no more than 3 or 4 minutes in A, about 12 minutes in B, something like that, 20 minutes in C, and then sum it up in D. So I would still spend most of the time in session C.
Yeah. Okay.
And there is a really good implement if you're looking for a takeaway for this. If you look on page 4-9, you see a suggestion. It says, look at Appendix C for how to write a tribute to your parents. If you are trying to honor your parents, write a tribute to the people who gave you life and raised you. And have your group write a tribute to their parents. For some people who may have toxic parents, that could be a hard thing. But do you know, even the worst parents shape some good in the life of their children if they take some good away from it and say, I watched my parents do this wrong, I'm going to try to be better.
That's right.
Okay? And that's where a spiritual parent can come alongside and change or help release the toxicity of a parent. Okay? Any questions about how to do this, about pacing?
I'm just.
Mike.
I'm just thinking about, I guess the emerging church, if I could quote that, and their desire to just receive like a blitz, they don't want to sit. I was raised under the word, and you could just, there was a craving to go hear the full counsel of God, and you wanted everything that God had to say. Of course, you prepared yourself, but we're noticing that the modern day church, they want to be entertained. They just want a little bit. They don't want to go too deep. That's really for you, the pastor, or for the leader. How do you handle that?
I don't have a real answer. Let me tell you where an understanding that I got. I changed my home computer stuff over to Fios, Verizon Fios. Mm-hmm. And along with my program came a DVR, which I didn't have before. So I DVR'd a couple of TV shows. And as I'm playing them back and I'm skipping over the commercials, I realize every 6 minutes of content, they break for 4 minutes of commercials.
Wow.
That's the mentality that you're dealing with.
Wow.
Every 6 to 8 minutes, no more than 8, they are breaking for 4 minutes of commercials.
So they're being robbed either way without knowing it.
And that's what they're watching. So.
That's the way people watch TV now, and that's the way their lives are broken up in 8-minute segments. And if you go more than 8 minutes on any given thought, you just lost them.
Wow.
Because people can't think beyond that.
That is, yes, this is what
talking about this, one of the things that I wrestle with is posting very serious things on Facebook, especially when it is video. If it is longer than 5 minutes, I wrestle and wonder if anybody is going to take the time to watch any, no matter how good, no matter how nice, no matter how serious it is. I sense that if it is longer than 5 minutes, most people will not watch it.
You know, one more thing that the point that she raised now, touched me in the sense that actually we are being recultured into, our lifespan has been monitored, and now it's like if you don't get the attention in that space of time from somewhere, you've lost the person. Yesterday I was playing YouTube and I realized that when the YouTube starts, it comes up with a commercial and it starts giving you a countdown of 5 seconds. Like after 5 seconds, you can skip the commercial. So I was telling myself, so they're trying to challenge the person producing the commercial. Like you have 5 seconds to pass your message across, or else this listener or this viewer has the right to skip. And say, I'm not interested in that.
Yeah, and not only that, but in the process of doing this DVR thing, I thought, okay, well, that was interesting. 8 minutes to 4, 8 to 4, 8 to 4. Okay, that's why there are 5 blocks of commercials out of every 1 hour program.
In the movies, people don't like the commercials. They want to see the whole movie.
Right. But here's the other thing. I also counted the number of commercials that fall in that 4 minutes. And it averages, I think I remember it averaged 12 commercials in 4 minutes. 12 different commercials. That means you're getting 20-second bits. 20-second bits that are going to make you remember this product. On average, you may get a 30-second bit, but then the next one's only going to be 10. And so they're hitting you with 12 commercials in 4 minutes, an average of 20 seconds per commercial.
So pass your message across the
tape. Yeah. I wanted to say to what he said, in other words, whether we are aware of it or not, we are being kind of reprogrammed or recultured, Yes. And it just brings to mind what Paul told Timothy in 2 Timothy 4, that preach the word, instant in season and out of season, because the time is going to come when people are not going to endure the teaching of, the sound doctrine of Christ. What it tells me is that in maximizing the 8-10 minutes of attention or whatever, there cannot be time for frivolities or entertainment. If I'm going to employ this kind of what we've talked about today, to just pass across just one bullet point for that, whether it's that Sunday or that Wednesday, then that's enough. Than trying to fill the time that, well, in this church we always teach 45 minutes or 1 hour, because they're just sitting down there, religiously, they are not really absorbing or assimilating anything.
Unless you alter it, and that's what we're talking about today. When you break up the teaching into things that you do, some talking time, some writing on the board, some talking in small groups, presenting, dialogue, discussion. Keep changing the momentum, because you keep changing the attention span, and you will retain your audience. I don't know who I've said this to before, but the man, maybe I mentioned it yesterday, the gentleman who challenged me to keep him on target through a whole 8-hour day of lesson.
You told me.
I told the pastor. He said, you can't do this. I zone out after 30 minutes. I've never been to a training I could stay with for more than 30 minutes. I said, we'll see. Tell me at the end of the day. At the end of the day, he said, I swear I didn't think you could do it. But I didn't realize 8 hours was gone, because there was just too much stuff going on, and it just went bam, bam, bam. And so I was able to keep his attention through 8 hours of teaching time. That included small group breakouts and all the other things that we did. But because we vary the activities, the reinforcements, the illustrations, the involvements, that keeps your learners on target, and they will get so much more than the person who sits and listens to some talking head.
The implications of this are amazing. This is wonderful. I was saying the implications of this is just amazing and critical, even as I think about, as I'm a pastor of a church. We were just discussing the sermon and how long should the sermon be and whatever, and I think this impacts everything about the church and recalibrating and not watering it down, but how can we get the most? What I think also is our people, well, at least in my church, they think praise is commercial, so they don't come in till.
Yeah. Yeah, I always wonder about the people who show up for the last 30 minutes of service.
Yeah, they'll walk in right before the sermon.
Yeah.
I in the past 6 months in our church, I started doing something. I was sharing with him. I don't teach one-way traffic. I think I picked up that one in our Sunday school at River of Life, and I just got used to that. I cannot just stand 45 minutes. I could do that.
Talk.
If it is about me, I could do 4-hour stretch. But I discovered that the kind of questions that they ask, and you feel, well, you thought about this, so why is this coming up? So what I do is maybe talk for like 10, 15 minutes and involve them by asking a probing question. And you see, people start talking. Nobody sleeps. Sometimes we can spend 3 hours.
Right.
Instead of just, the one with traffic.
You're absolutely right. This is applicable, folks, to all kinds of presentations, whether you're doing a gathering at a men's conference or a women's prayer breakfast or you name it, whatever you're working with when you're teaching and working with a group of people, keep these principles in mind. It will change your teaching. It will change your effectiveness. The pastor of my church, it's one sermon I will never forget. You come in, we've had praise and worship, the lights go down, we blacked out the auditorium, and we had music going in the background. Then the lights come up, and on stage, there's a little pen, and in that pen is hay or straw. And sitting in the pen is the pastor in coveralls and a straw hat with 3 baby pigs running around inside. And can anybody tell me what the message was about? I bet you can.
The prodigal son?
The prodigal son feeding the swine.
You went right to it.
Did he have the audience? Everybody in that place knew, I'm waiting to see what happens when the pigs get loose, Wow. But they had everything planned and set up, so all they had to do, 2 guys bring in the pen, set it down, 1 guy scatters the hay, 1 guy comes in each arm with these little pigs, and the pastor walks in, sits down in the hay. All that happened in less than 2 minutes on stage. But it was, what part of the lesson would you call that?
The invite.
It's one of the strongest invites I've ever seen. And but they overlap, you see. But the key was that invite had the attention of every single person in that audience. So our pastor likes to do illustrated sermons. And so he does, but I thought that was really a tour de force when you turn up the lights and the pastor's sitting on stage in a pig pen with pigs. So, okay. Of course, the following year we did a living nativity, and we walked real camels, real donkeys, through the sanctuary and back out again, and we had live sheep on stage with the shepherds, and the female sheep went into labor on stage. Oh. Somebody, even though they were told not to, as I walked in the door leading a camera, somebody stands up and hits us with a flashlight, and my camel freaked out and jumped into the seats. And then I got her back and we walked through the rest of it. But we didn't do a living nativity ever again. Pastor says I don't need any more holes in the wall or broken seats. And plus the fact when we were doing rehearsal, we were down front and he was sitting all by himself down in the front. And my camel got overexcited, so I turned her around in a circle like a horse person does. And I almost ran over him. He's making a beeline up the aisleway. So we don't do living nativities anymore. Yes, Lord. Okay, you feeling good about what you're learning so far?
Sure.
How do you feel about teaching this now? You feel better about the material? The lesson you just looked at, the lessons you see in every module are going to be the same. They are going to have in tremendous content. They're going to be broken down into objectives. They're going to have bibliographies. They're going to have appendices and extra stories. The elephant story is an appendix in that module. That's where it comes from. So I just use the picture to be the invite, and then I go to the appendix to use the story because it's already in the book. So you don't even have to write down and remember the elephant story. It's in the module. Okay? Now, tomorrow we're done with what we're supposed to do today, but I'm going to take a minute and show you. Okay, can you turn that back on? Is that set?
I think it might have gone on for lack of use.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you get it back up? All right. It's coming. Oh, this is up. Okay. Up here, folks, you see the top says what? Oh, I'm sorry. Let's see if I can do a whole page thing on it. There we go. Oh, that's not much. Where's my zoom? Okay, where?
Do your little glasses on.
Say what? Oh, there we go. Okay, I'm looking for it. Okay, so which way do we want to go? Come on.
Francis, are you here?
Oh, no, that's not the way we want to go.
But I'm with a ministry in the third ward.
There we go. All right. This is one of the pages from the Best Practices Manual. This is teaching ideas for the Best Practices Manual. Session 1 overview, display and illustration. Session opening, use Paul Wilbur's The Weight of Your Glory. Session 1, there's a skit attached to the end of this as part of an appendix. And it really can be funny if you've got two people who really like to play off of each other. The people I picked to do this at one of the churches about a year ago, they were hysterical. And so, but the skit's right there. You just have to read the skit. Okay? Session 2, write www.forgod on the board. And I remind you, this is not a real website. And so what does WW stand for? Well, we're talking about God's global heart, so it means win worshipers worldwide. But as you can see, there's 2 or 3 things for session 1. There's a couple of different things for session 2. Whoops. Now, how am I going to go down in there?
You just scroll down.
No, it's not scrolling
You
correctly. Here's what I will do. Just use cursor and bounce through it. Okay, in session 2, we talk about God's glory and his global plan, and we talk about it in terms of disasters. How do those fit into God's plan? We talk about what happens as a result of disasters and things, great monumental things that happen in the world. So that's just one other thing. Session 3. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 things. Notice as well that underneath each one of those things, I also put what learning styles are using. So if I've got something that says in session 3, we write the words pray, give, and go on 3 of those big sheets of paper, and we have people divide into 3 groups and go to those sheets and write ideas about how you can pray for missions, how you can give for missions, how you can go to missions, and then rotate the people and have them share ideas on a different sheet. And all of this involves body smart, people smart, self smart, word smart, picture smart, and number smart. So you're using that many different learning styles just with this. Session 4, we have a thing on what do you do with your cell phone. Session 4 also have a great lesson illustration from one of the people at Messiah Center in Hampton. And you can read through that. She had passed out everybody a little slip of paper, and it had, I am called to proclaim liberty to captives. And so she passed all these things out, and some got those, but 5 people said, I am called to lead. And those 5 people came to the front and received a bowl. I since bought 5 little kids' buckets, beach buckets, about this big, for 50 cents at Dollar Tree or something. Put sand in it and bury the next 5 things. It says I'm called to pastor, or I'm called to be a prophet, or I'm called to be an apostle, or to evangelize, or to teach. And those are buried in the buckets. And you have the people dig in the sand to find what they're called to. Does that illustrate what a calling is and how you have to look for it? It doesn't necessarily always come and hit you upside the head. So it was a beautiful illustration and a great way to get the people involved. So that was session 4. There's another thing for session 4, although after I got done using that one, I thought, I can't do anything else. Sadie's nailed this. Session 5, bow and arrow. I even give you instructions on how to do a thing on an arrow, since I'm a nationally certified archery instructor.
You are?
Yes. Yeah, I've never been able, I'm really like Michelangelo or Leonardo da Vinci in the sense I've never been content not to try something new. I'm always trying something new.
Is there a reason why we don't get that as teachers?
You do get it. This is what you get when you call me. It's just I'm still writing it.
Oh, okay.
And it's always in change. Okay. And I'll tell you what's going to happen eventually is that all of it's going to be transferred to our website in a section called For Instructors Only. So that if you are a certified instructor, you will be added on as a member to the website, and you can access that anytime. And if you come up with a really great idea, right now you can send it to me and I'll include it, and eventually we'll put it in the website and anybody can use it. Just like I borrowed from Sadie's, I want to give people 4 or 5 different things to look at for every one of these and have lots of choices, suggestions, whatever, available. I'm not the only person who can think up activities. Everybody, I've seen some amazing things done, and so I want to make them available for as many people as possible. That's where this manual came from. This is just one. So as we're going down, we finish with section 6, and we do the attention test. Here's the attention test. And you can print these off. When you get the manual, you print it off. Appendix A. Read all the instructions before answering questions. Write the name of the first module studied on the back of this sheet. State and explain the part that impacted you the most. Name the current module you're studying. Write the names of the instructors of the first module. Write a paragraph about why you're participating. You get down there and it says number 8. Disregard all the above. Write your name in the upper right-hand corner. Turn your paper face down on the table. You'd be amazed how many people will spend 30 minutes trying to do this because they didn't read things. They're doing them one at a time. It's a lesson in paying attention. Okay? So that's the kind of little games I have people do. Here's the skit. Okay. And here's the bow and arrow thing. How to do the bow and arrow. And last but not least is all the words to the Paul Wilbur song. So if you don't know it, I'm going to give you the words. Okay? That's what I'm going to give you in the best practices manual. So doesn't mean you use it, but use it as a springboard and go from there. Let it give you an idea and you say, oh, wow, that gives me this idea. I think I'll do it this way, and I'll change this, and I'll do something different. But I'm going to give you something to work off of. Okay? All righty. That's what I like. That's what I call client support. That's what I really mean when I say client support. All right? Yeah, we don't throw you out there and just give you the teaching and hand you the stuff and say, go do this and figure it out for yourself. We're going to do everything possible to make your teaching experience and your group's learning experience effective and fun. I want it to be fun. And I hope you've experienced some of that today.
Oh, yes. You put me to music. I will never forget.
Hey, I didn't say you had to do that. I just said we had to see if that was a place for you. But you got the idea. Does anybody have any questions or comments about what we've done today?
It's been a great session.
I think it's very, a lot of eye openers even from yesterday, and very enriching. I mean, I love it. At the same time, very challenging, like, oh my goodness. But I'm glad that the support that you are giving, so that will help us. It's really amazing.
Can you imagine how much more challenging it would be if all we did was send you a set of books and say, here,
Oh,
do
yeah.
this?
Well, I could tell you from day one, I looked at it, I said, there's no way we're going to be able to handle this without help. Yeah, so thank you.
Yep.
For me, I love the overall impact it's going to have on the hearers, the listeners. This is not just about the teacher, the speaker, how charismatic or how oratorial, it's involved. It's about learning and living at the same time. That is what I really love about it.
Let me say when I first came across the materials, one of the things that I really, really loved about it is that when you look at a lot of John Maxwell's materials, and John writes a lot of good stuff. He amazes me with every book that he writes. I mean, I don't know how you can write that every book is good. There isn't one that is, But what I do discover, though, is that his books, many of them don't lack, but they don't, he does not put Bible passages in there.
No, because he's working for a commercial market.
Yes,
He really is selling for anybody and
everybody. Yes. So, but then what I love about this is that not only does it give you these points and these principles, but every one of them, or just about every one of them, there is a biblical reference.
Yeah, and you don't have to go to your concordance and say, okay, I need a Bible verse that goes with right here. What does it mean to say our yes should be yes and our no should be no? Where is that in the Bible when we're talking about demonstrating authenticity? I don't have to go hunting through the concordance and try to figure out what Bible verses are going to impact these things. That's already done. It's here. We've done that.
Amen.
All right, you guys ready for some assignments? Okay, we're going to turn over.
Implementation.
Now that you're comfortable, I'm going to get you out of your comfort zone. Okay, you're going to turn over to session 8. It starts 8-1, Becky, would you do me a favor, please, and record these as, just write them down somewhere as I give out assignments so that, just on a sheet of paper. I'd put it, use the back of your, there you go. That's just scrap, so just use the back of that. Okay. Notice that on page 8-1, we reprint the 6 eyes. So in case you forgot where to find them, you can go right there. It's right in the beginning of what you're teaching. And you will be demonstrating because we will be judging you according to the 6 eyes. I will show you the, the sheet that you will do that on. I'll show you an example of that. But in any event, we're going to start with, you do this, oh, actually, it's in your packet. If you look in your packet, you will see there is a feedback form. And as you present, all of the people in the group are going to be using that feedback form to give you feedback on your lesson presentation. So there are 7 sheets in there. You are going to grade 7 other people, and 7 other people are going to grade you. No. You have 1 presentation, but you will grade 7 presentations, and you will receive 7 feedback forms. Actually, you receive 8 because you'll also get me. Okay. We're going to, on 8-1, we give you the 6 eyes, starting on 8-5. Okay. Objective A, page 8-5 and 8-6. Okay, let's give that to Santosh. Okay. 8-5 and 8-6. Okay. Objective B, page 8-7. We're going to give it, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on your name right now.
That's a good thing.
Well, that you're going to get it anyway, so it doesn't matter. Joe. Okay, so Joe is going to do page 8-7. That seems like because it's small, it will be easy. That's not necessarily the case. Okay. You do all of the things on that page. Okay, Yolande, you're going to do page 8-8, Objective C. 8-8. 8-8. Well, this is all part, all of these things come out of Leaders Foundation. So each one is a continuation of the one before.
I thought I was doing a new,
It is a new lesson.
This one is objective.
It's a different objective of the same session. Okay, let me make that.
Two major challenges.
Yeah. If you look at the book, okay, here is session 3 of the book. Now, you as a teacher would teach all of those objectives to a class, but we don't want you to teach 45 minutes tomorrow. We're going to give you 15 minutes. Everybody has 15 minutes. And you would be teaching one of the objectives out of a 45-minute session. So in this case, the objective you're going to teach is here on page 8-8. You are responsible for teaching in no more than 15 minutes the material on this page. Okay? And that means 6 eyes, learning styles, illustrations, the whole 9 yards, but only that page. Now, you need to read the previous pages to, get an idea of what's before and what's coming after, so you don't necessarily step on the toes of the next group. Okay? Is that clear to everybody?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, Ignatius, that gives you page 8-9, which is contrasting servant leadership, and also includes 8-10. So 8-9 and 8-10 are yours. Yes.
Shall I be absent tomorrow?
Nope. Not unless you're Skyping in. But you still have to do it. Okay, now we're going to go over and into page 8-15, which are sessions from session 8 of Leading Skillfully. We've skipped to a different module, but we're going to use examples from a different module and keep on presenting. So, Francis, on page 8-15, a healthy view of conflict. Okay.
H-15.
Uh-huh. You're smiling. Okay. Now, that gives you the next page, 8-16, which is the biblical mandate to confront conflict. Okay? Okay, Becky, coming over to you. You are going to be doing example C, typical sources of conflict, page 8-17. That's all, okay? 8-17. And Margaret, that leaves you with the stages of a conflict cycle.
Did you jump in?
No? Oh, I'm sorry. I did jump over him, but he gets to be last. Okay. Actually, usually I make him go first. I'm really being generous to him this time. Okay. 8-18 is Margaret.
8-18.
Right. This is stages of a conflict style. And Pastor will be doing Paul's pattern for conflict resolution on 8-19 and 8-20. We have a full day tomorrow, a very full day. 8. 3 and, oh no, that is 6. There are 9 of us, okay. Yes, we'll get some extra forms printed. Okay. I've had some people just stress over this so much, and other people just kind of go, you know, I'm not going to worry about it. But it's kind of important to use this as an opportunity to show that you understand these principles of education. When I did this in the Philippines, the first presenter was one of the most senior pastors of the group. This was a consortium of 12 different denominations, which has members, 72 pastors from those denominations that participate in this consortium and wanted to do a leadership development program. And we certified, I think it was 8 people, 7 or 8 people, to be instructors, and the first one that presented was the senior pastor. Well, he's apparently quite a dynamic pastor, but what he did was come up like a pulpit pastor, and he stood up there and gave a lesson. And we said, Pastor, you're full of great content, but here's some things you need to work on. And after the other people came behind him and presented, he stood up and apologized to the group because he said, I didn't really understand I was supposed to use all those principles and do all those things in this lesson. He says, this is going to change the way I preach. It's going to change who I am when I talk to groups of people. So even though he didn't do a very good presentation, he got the idea from watching all of the other people in his cohort who presented after him. Okay? All right, if you have questions for me, feel free to ask them. If you are, and I'm not going to give you ideas on this, you're going to come up with ideas of your own. I'm not giving you the best practices manual. I want you to be creative tonight. Okay? Have fun.
So we can use video?
You can use videos. You can, anything you can put on the,
You can bring in a pin.
I'm not bringing no pig.
Oh, a long one.
we're not not doing the prodigal son here, yeah.
Whoa. Assignment. Let's go make it happen, right?
Okay.
We can do it.
Sure. Gotta make it happen. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We are all so smart. You're getting out early.
You are. Yes, you are, because you have a lot of work to do.